inside Donaldson Correction Facility, Alabama Department of Correction. And this is where we at inside talking about mass incarceration, prison, slavery, the 14th Amendment, the living conditions, what we doing to address some of these issues and try to bring some relief to the people who are most impacted by mass incarceration. Mostly a lot of young African American men. Got a couple of young brothers here with me tonight. That's Mr. Thomas. What's your name? Both. Yeah, Minifood. Got Rufus Ricks on the Wheels of Steel. And we just putting the information out there, trying to get people to see and understand that there's a need for change, and it goes beyond the statutory laws and the little nonviolent crimes and things like that. It goes towards the environment inside of the prison system, what they put out as far as what they consider to be corrections, and whether or not that's enough to really deal with the problems that people are having coming inside of prison. Starting off the top, the issue of race has to be removed from the equation, because they targeting African American people. They targeting majority of young African American men, but we are not the only people being targeted. Our Mexican brothers over here, they're being targeted. Hispanics, dual national Mexican Americans, they being targeted, and also poor people. Poor people of all races, not just poor white people, but anybody that's poor in America is being targeted for mass incarceration for prison slavery, because they using prisons and prison labor to generate billions and billions of dollars in products and services from companies like AT&T, Walmart, Starbucks, McDonald's, Wendy's, John Deere, Victoria's Secret, the former Chrysler Corporation. People who are in prison are making products for all of these type of companies and providing services for companies like AT&T, running call centers and things of that nature. And people are being targeted for that work, for that low wage, form of existence. And like I said, the majority of the people are African American. So we just been talking, filming. This is a 2-man cell right here. 2 men sleep in this cell. You got 2 people sleep in this cell. And you can see it's not very much space. You see 2 bunks right on top of each other, one little small window, the toilet right here inside of the cell with them. You can see how close the toilet is to the living area, and when a person used the bathroom, sometimes you have all type of little matter, bacteria coming out in the air. And that's right here where people sleeping at. Very little space, to keep out property. It's inhumane living conditions. It's very hot, And so I'm gonna let these young brothers introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about them. What the struggle been like for them. What the struggle been like for you, buddy?
The struggle been hard. My name Akil Muhammad. The struggle been hard, especially like during lockup time, cause they throw us in lockup. We don't let us all the material. We're gonna advance our thought, but we won't keep making the same mistakes. Y'all say this for correction, but y'all don't give no avenue for we can correct ourselves. I peace with that.
How long you been in before you? How long you been in lock? How long you been locked up?
Time prison?
Yeah.
Total 10 years.
Yeah. How old were you when you first came to prison?
16.
Did you have your GED?
No sir.
Did you have skill of trade?
No sir.
You got them things now?
Yes sir.
So why do you think that if you done came in and got the stuff you need, to get yourself in a condition where you can make better decisions, why you think they still holding you in prison? You feel like you ready to go to the street and make a positive contribution?
I've been feeling I'm ready to go to the street.
Well, what you gonna do when you get out there? If you went out there today, tell people that's looking to see this video, what can they look for from you to show and prove that you ready to go to the street? What is the state hiding from the people regarding you?
First thing I'm gonna do is go get on you, cause they who being targeted right now. I don't understand, cause I was a young black male coming through the system with no guidance. So I know that if our brother has somebody who been through the struggle and been through all this, where they finna head come through, it'd be a better chance they gonna come through it all. And my whole mission started in youth against violence. When I hit back to Birmingham.
Yeah, we talked about that youth against violence, and Mr. Farrakhan called for 10,000 fearless men to come up on the scene to address the violence in the black community and the drugs. And we talk about the violence and some of the problems that exist inside of the prison. So, would you like to speak on that and how you feel like you could be effective and be part of that 10,000 man army that Minister Farrakhan has called for?
The main thing Farrakhan said about it, re-education.
Mm-hmm.
We've been educated, but at the same time, we got to be re-educated because a lot of stuff we learned been diluted and misled. So the first thing we got to do, you got to show the people who they really is, where they really come from. Because when we been taught, we don't get taught past slavery.
You're right.
So if you don't get taught past slavery, I don't think you know, man, my people came from slavery, but your people came from kings and queens. So if you know this, you'll do better. If you know better, you do better. If you know where you came from, know where your people came from, and what was inside of them, and all the great things they did, that'll bring the seed, that greatness seed out of you.
That's right. You be inspired by knowing that, you know, I've achieved in life. I ain't just come from this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That narrative that they playing out in the media, in the records, on the movies, and the TV screen, the negative images, that's all we got to go by. But the positive stuff that's part of our legacy, they don't teach us about that.
Yeah, then also by me getting out there and getting all the brothers who been through the struggle, who been through prison, who already had a name out there on the streets, and when they see us on a positive, on some right, what don't got to do with the streets, don't got to do with drugs, don't got to do with rob, don't got to do with murder. They see us doing living right and still got living like a dope boy living, but we on the right path. They'll motivate them to get out of the game because they understand that I don't got to be no dope boy now. I don't got to be no robber. I don't got to be no murder for hire to achieve a success in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, cause I see bro right here. I see bro right here. Who I know been out there for doing the right thing and still doing good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's go over here to Minute Food for a minute.
I mean, since I've been locked up, the struggles and trials, tribulations that I went through, like, for real, to me, like, this supposed to be a correctional facility, you know what I'm saying? It's called the Department of Correction, Alabama Department of Correction. And I mean, like, they don't give us nothing to really correct ourselves for. I mean, like, I've been down 7 years. Throughout my 7 years, I've been going, like, from prison to prison, getting C-51, like, from different prisons. So it's like,
what you had to be more specific about what is the C-51 for the people
C-51
who don't know what a C-51 is.
That's like, well, it could be different occasions. Like your name come up, you get into trouble, they'll transfer you to another prison. But basically, these incidents be really like officers. Like you really ain't got to do nothing. It be officers. They make up stuff to write you up for, you know what I'm saying, any little thing, but they'll try to write it up like it's something more than what it is, you know what I'm saying, as far as like, I might go in a dorm, you know what I'm saying, I don't live in this dorm, but I get into it with an officer by being in the wrong spot, and the officer might put his hands on you or something of that particular nature, and if you defend yourself back, then they gonna write it up on an incident like, shit, you just took off on the officer, like you just beat this officer up and you did this, you did that, but really the officer initiated the situation. Not saying that I went wrong by going in the wrong, being out of pocket, or you know what I'm saying.
But they got a rule for that. It's called being in an unauthorized area.
Yeah.
The rule don't say that he can become aggressive and abusive and assaultive towards you. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me ask you this then. Being that you're a young black man and you seeing this police brutality and all this stuff they're playing on today, you know, with Mike Brown, the people from Ferguson, Baltimore, the movement that's going on, Black Lives Matter, and you see this police brutality and you see they manufacturing stuff in the street. Have you ever experienced personally police brutality? Have you ever been assaulted?
Yeah, that's how I get to a man's camp. That's how I get C-51 to a man's camp. I've experienced it 3 times. 2 have been documented. 1 ain't been documented since I've been in prison. My first time coming down, I was at a camp called Elmo. And the police come in the dorm. When the police come in the dorm, me and another dude, one of my homeboys, we sitting in the cut. And the police see my homeboy flinch. You know what I'm saying? He think he trying to hide something or something. He come over there try to shake the cut down. When he try to shake the cut down, I take off and run. As I take off and run, he hop on my back. You know what I'm saying? When we jump, I get down, I'm down. Now as I'm down, he hit the code. All the police come in, you know what I'm saying? They get me up, put me in handcuffs, take me up to the front shift office. And now because what went on, the police sergeant walk out, the supervisor walk out, police go slap me around while I'm in handcuffs and stuff, you know what I'm saying?
How old were you when this was going on? How old are you now,
This-
as a matter of fact?
I'm 27 now.
Okay, so
when
how-
this went on, I was like 22.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Boom, the next day, they C-51 me, send me to Venturous.
Okay.
When I went to Venturous, they have twice took me in Venturous. When I went to Venturous, I get into it with a white dude. Jumped on the white dude. When we jump on the white dude, we get in the shift office. White dude owes us money, you know what I'm saying? We get in the shift office, the sergeant, as a matter of fact, I know his name, Sergeant Brown, and it was Sergeant named Sergeant, it was Sergeant named Sergeant McKinley, McKissick, something like that.
Okay.
But we in the shift office, and they like, if you don't tell us the truth about what happened, they trying to get me to tell on myself on the incident. They like, if you don't tell me the truth what happened, then I'm gonna slap you, I'm gonna jump on you. You know what I'm saying? Basically.
Okay.
So I'm like, man, I don't know what he talking about.
This officer black or white?
Both of them were black.
Oh, two black officers
Two
doing that.
black officers. I'm
So,
like,
so excuse me, Mr. Ray, isn't it true that in the state of Alabama, corporal punishment been outlawed? And could you
Yeah,
explain
yeah.
what corporal punishment is?
Well, I mean, we talk about police brutality, and in the sense that they already know they wrong. It's beyond corporal punishment. It's the brutality that's needed to control people on a plantation. You know, it's when we put prison in its proper perspective and realize that slavery was never abolished, but that it was only nationalized. That the industry of slavery used to be a private industry where private citizens can own slaves. And through the 13th Amendment, it said neither slavery nor involuntary except where one has been duly convicted. So by creating the exception, yes.
14.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 14th Amendment. By creating that exception, it allowed for the institution of slavery to continue on. And so in order to make a person a physical slave, you first have to break them spiritually, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. And they use these conditions. They use police brutality. They use small cells. They use poor food. They use controlled units, solitary confinement. And they use the actual physical brutality, like this young man is describing, in order to make you compliant so that you will go to work. You know, so that's what it's all about, man. I mean, sure, it was outlawed, but slavery has never been outlawed. So even though corporal punishment is outlawed, the fact that slavery is still permissible, there's only one way to make a man become compliant with being a slave, and you have to use brutal force, and that's what a lot of these issues going on in prison from the administrative side, that's what they all about. Mr. Brother Muhammad, I wanted to ask you, when do you anticipate being released from prison? How much longer do you have?
So I come up parole to down 21. That mean I did 15 on 20.
So you got to do 15 years on 20, but you already got your GED. You already got your skill of trade. You've already went through your personal development, and yet they still want to hold you in prison.
Still hold me in prison.
And you just going up for parole review. You understand that you're not even guaranteed to be finna make parole.
Yes, sir.
And you also understand that you're not physically going in front of the parole board.
Yes, sir.
It's just gonna be your file.
It's gonna be my file.
So you ain't even actually finna get no parole review. And really, the file that's being sent to the parole board, and this is one of the things we saying about the parole board. Okay, we got classification specialists at these prisons. They reviewing our files. They putting the information in. We seeing social workers and psychologists. These are the people that are hands-on with us that are most qualified to say this person is ready to go or not. We actually see them. The people on the parole board got the exact same qualifications, but they not seeing us. They not dealing with us. They just taking a file, reading something that a person of equal qualification has written about someone that they actually have personal experiences with, and the people in the parole board are making a decision on whether or not you're ready to go when it's the people who create the files, the classification people.
I ain't never seen my classification since I've been here a year and a half.
How much time you got?
I got a life sentence. Yeah, I ain't never seen my class.
How much time you done did on your life sentence? 7 years. When you go for parole?
2002.
So you got another 4 years. Yeah. And just be honest, what have you seen from guys around you going up for parole with the type of crime you got?
I mean, the crime I got, I mean, they probably make it if they stay out of the way, you know what I'm saying? But now I can see a lot of dudes not make it for real. Most everybody get set off their first time, you know.
So what the measure 5 years for, Brother Muhammad, that you got to do now that you already then completed? You know, I know you completed any program.
Crime bill.
You completed the crime bill. So
man, self evaluation. Oh.
So what you think the 5 years? What the remaining 5 years for? Why you still doing time in prison?
They ain't trying to let me out right there. But you know, just 'cause they ain't gonna try to let me out, I'm still striving.
Yeah.
You know, going through their legal system, trying to get myself out. I already understand. I know I can't depend on them. Period.
Well, that's all we doing, y'all. We starting the documentary series back. We're gonna be going around, allowing y'all to see these young brothers, talk to them, hear different perspective, older brothers. We're gonna take the camera out inside the TV room, let y'all see how people living at this prison, what the conditions are actually like. Look inside the shower. We're in a block where it ain't no mop closet. And when you ain't got no mop closet, the guys are taking the mop, cleaning the dorms with it, and all that filth and dirt and bacteria that they picking up, they go into the shower, pouring it out in the shower drain. But we are not getting cleaning supplies to clean the shower. So when we go in the shower, when the water start hitting off the floor, that bacteria start getting up on our feet. Everybody's feet look bad in prison. You know, everybody got some kind of problem with their feet. And it's because we don't have the proper infrastructure, you know, to facilitate holding human beings. These places, look at that vent. That's the vent where we supposed to get our air from. Now, how you gonna get some air through that? You know, it's an impossible situation because
This is the ventilation, y'all. Ventilation.
yeah, it's an impossible system. I mean, we sleeping with that type of ventilation, toilet right here. 2 grown men gotta use this, you know.
2 flushes.
Yeah, and you only get 2 flushes. Check this out, y'all. Alright, I'm a flush it. 1 flush. Now this toilet ain't gonna flush no more for what is it, an hour? For 1 hour. 2 men. They ain't gonna flush no more for another whole hour. And I know y'all saying, well, why you waste your 2 flushes? Because the point we're trying to make is if in the course of it, we all eat at the same time. So if one person go to the kitchen and eat, and his waste pass through, and he had to come in here and use the bathroom, he flush it 2 times, or his cell partner come in and have to use, you know, have to take a leak and then come back and have to use the bathroom. They can't flush the toilet, so we have to sit in here with our waste.
So the second person, if he uses it, that means no ventilation.
No ventilation.
And he just got to use
No
it
water.
and let it
It's
sit
gonna
in there.
just sit in there. It's just gonna sit in there, you know. And these are the things that they don't talk about when they talk about mandatory minimum. That's not gonna be in the mandatory minimum, but it's a part of the prison process that needs to be changed. So, like I said, we just wanted to put a little information out. We're gonna start these documentaries. We're gonna be politicking on the 14th Amendment. We'll be talking about the new Jim Crow. We'll be talking about our brothers, you know, around the country, no matter where they at. I want to say this in closing. In 1860, before the Civil War started, when the Southern states seceded from the Union, those same Southern states are the same states that were fighting to maintain the institution of slavery. Those are the ones that got the exception created so that slavery would be allowed in the prisons. Alright, the Southern states that were fighting for slavery, them the same states that lead the nation today in mass incarceration rates. Louisiana, that state led the nation as the most slaves sold in this country when slavery was permissible. as a private enterprise.
So what you're saying is not a coincidence that these southern states are leading the country in this mass incarceration.
Nah, it ain't no coincidence. See, it was a compromise made. The 13th Amendment said neither slavery nor involuntary servitude. The 14th Amendment, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except what? No, it's the 13th Amendment. 14th Amendment dealing with national citizenship. The 13th Amendment, it said neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except when one has been duly convicted of a crime, shall exist in the United States. So the southern states were able to preserve and maintain the institution of slavery. They just nationalized it. It became a state institution. The state became the slaveholder. So, I mean, when we go back and look at that, and we realize that the states that were fighting to preserve slavery in 1860 up to the end of the Civil War, these are the same states that now lead the nation in mass incarceration. Louisiana, like I said, sold the most slaves. Now the city of New Orleans, the highest per capita incarceration rate in the whole wide world. So the institution didn't change, the principle didn't change. The main ones who were doing this, they just simply changed where they housed slaves. It went from a free enterprise that anyone could do it to a government enterprise where only the state can own slaves right now.
So you just said that it says no slavery unless duly convicted. Can you break that down? Because most of the guys that are incarcerated in these southern states, were they duly convicted?
Nah, I mean, well, yeah. They were duly convicted according to the laws of the nation. You know, they set these laws up to make it easy to convict. So if they saying all you got to do is go through step 1, step 2, and step 3, and you done duly convicted someone, they going through step 1, they going through step 2, they going through step 3. But the problem is that process is flawed. You know, they saying that you can't be arrested unless they have an arrest warrant. But the person who issued an arrest warrant work for the police, work with the police. You know, they state agents. If they don't issue these warrants, they gonna be out of a job. Then step 2, you gotta receive a trial in front of your jury. But when you get in there, it's not a jury of your peers. You know what I'm saying? So they got a warrant, they got you a jury trial, but look at how they went about doing it. You feel me? They stacked the jury trial with their own people. You know, and then you got the defense attorney. Step 3, you got to receive a lawyer. Okay, but the lawyer is incompetent. He has insufficient funds. He can't mount a full defense. He don't have access to no crime scene investigators like the state. He don't have access to Alabama Department of Forensic Science. But we see in forensic science laboratories all around the country being exposed for wrongfully convicting people. So, I mean, it's an unfair game. So, yeah, they duly convicted us, but what is required and what is considered to be due is insufficient. And so, therefore, we end up right back on the slave plantation. And that's what we're trying to do, to get people to understand that slavery never ended. You know, we ain't in here complaining about the fact that we ain't got no T-bone states. We are in here people who have been enslaved. We are slaves. You know, this is a slave-holding entity right here. That's a slave-holding entity. That means that this is where the people who are eligible to be treated as slaves, this is where they house them at. You know, you can remove this word because that ain't got nothing to do with what's going on in here. Ain't no correction. Y'all heard it from them.
Corruption.
Promo
corruption.
Do you feel, brother, do you feel like it was some flaws in your case, or do you feel like you had a fair opportunity and a fair trial? Or do you feel like it's a lot of issues that you might not know how to express, but you know that you was treated unjustly in the courtroom?
I mean, I know I was treated unjustly in the courtroom, right? It was like everything was stacked up